Hello, listeners. This is Born Curious, a podcast that celebrates the unbounded curiosity that defines our home here at Harvard Radcliffe Institute. I'm your co-host, Heather Min.
And I'm your co-host, Ivelisse Estrada. Today, we're sharing another one of the moving lightning talks that were delivered at the Institute's 25th anniversary celebration.
As you may recall, each of these talks is a standalone jewel on a broad topic, delivered in 7 minutes by an expert in the field. I refer to these mini releases as fun-sized episodes. Our third of these releases is Ayodele Casel on the topic of creativity.
Ayodele Casel is an award-winning and critically acclaimed tap dancer and choreographer, and she was the 2019 to 2020 Francis B. Cashin Fellow at Radcliffe and a former artist-in-residence at Harvard. Casel was born in the Bronx and raised in Puerto Rico, and her practice is rooted in expressions of selfhood, culture, and legacy. She was hailed by the legendary dancer Gregory Hines as, quote, one of the top young tap dancers in the world, unquote, and by the New York Times as, quote, a tap dancer of unquestionable radiance, unquote.
Let's listen in.
I was a fellow at Radcliffe during the 2019-2020 year. We were in person for a little less than 6 months because of the pandemic, or as many of us creative folks referred to it, the panorama, or the panini, the pandemonium, the panera, and then my personal favorite, the ponderosa. I'm sure that we all remember what a life-changing time that was, and humor seems to be one of the ways we managed to cope with it. Another way we activated. We started offering lessons online. Artists started creating films in order to share their work since the stage wasn't an option. Happy hours became Zoom dates, and on and on and on our creativity flowed. In my particular art form of tap dance and in my artistic and life journey, I have recognized the connection in how creativity, and I will add innovation, developed in response to oppressive circumstances and life-altering moments. I think about the American history of tap dance, its origins of being rooted in expression and communication, that culturally we as Black people used the playing of drums not only for social gatherings and for musical and dance expression, but began to use rhythm as a way to organize and to rise in rebellion across plantations in the South. The Stoner Rebellion led to the banning of drums and horns, a law that was written into the 1740 Slave Code of South Carolina. But it is this moment of silencing, of cultural and personal trauma that we credit with being the origins of tap dancing. We began to use our bodies, our hands, our feet as percussion in response to that silencing. And to me, that was an incredible act of resistance and creativity. A sophisticated and innovative art form was born. In our life now, sometimes pressing and oppressing moments show up like deadlines, problem solving at home, budgeting. I recently turned into a landscape and hardscape artist, which is not what I do at all, in response to ridiculously high quotes from landscape companies. I felt like I had YouTube and then the rest of the internet on my side to figure it out. And so I did it myself. One of the ways that original artistic expression shows up in my practice is through improvisation. There's something about being responsible for contributing musical and rhythmic ideas on the spot that can be jarring for a lot of people. It was for me when I began that practice over 25 years ago. But improvisation, which I believe is a super creative skill, it asks me to confront my fears and insecurities and to do the thing that sometimes, let me be truthful, very often feels terrifying, which is the willingness to be vulnerable. And yet, for me, there is no other way. I know this. I know the reward on the other side of the fear. It was my experience before I made a practice of it. But in tap dance, there kind of is just no way around it. You just have to dig in. I draw deep inspiration from the masterful pianist Cecil Taylor and his expansive and uncompromising approach to musical expression, the idea that you commit to your practice so that you can invent. that the idea of being able to refine a technique eventually creates a pathway for your own invention if you let it. so that in your moment of creation, you are not in your head trying to manipulate the moment, trying to force something to happen, but allowing your curiosity and what you know innately to guide you. For me, that freedom combined with the specific dance vocabulary of tap makes it possible for me to approach the floor at any given time with a reverence for what has existed before me and the thrill and the potential of the present moment. For me, creativity is an active practice. It can flow and it can also stagnate if it's not tended to. But what it asks me to do is to continue to show up. Creativity is freedom. Creativity is authenticity. Creativity is also thinking about the myriad of ways that your vision can be realized. And creativity is trusting that you have all the tools you need to contribute. It requires confidence and courage, but it does not ask for perfection. It asks for your willingness to be taught something, to be open to receiving guidance. One of my great friends and a brilliant choreographer himself, Ronald K. Brown, told me years ago that all I had to experience a fulfilling creative life was to listen and obey. And in that way, creativity is divine. I find I'm the most creative when I'm not second guessing, when I'm truthfully open to the present moment, when I trust the things that I know and have the humility to understand that there is a whole world of information, a way of approaching things, or that there's just so much more to discover. I'll say it another way. Creativity is using tools we already know and understand to locate tools that we have yet to know and understand. And in that way, I think of creativity as being a window into possibility. What I am continuously reminding myself of is to just keep showing up with courage, curiosity, playfulness, integrity, excitement, and most of all, the authenticity. These are the qualities that have fueled my creativity and keep me engaged in the work year after year. They push me past my comfort zone and into new and exciting territory, sometimes kicking and screaming. And I hope that my creative expression will inspire others to go on the same journey. One final thing I will share is the life-changing support that I received during my creative time at Radcliffe continues to show itself today. So in February of 2020, I delivered my lecture at the Knaufel Center, and I shared a bit of the work I'd been writing. There were ART staff members in attendance right across the street, and I am thrilled to share that this December, my Radcliffe Institute project, Diary of a Tap Dancer, will have its premiere at the American Repertory Theater. So thank you, Radcliffe.
That concludes today's program.
Born Curious is brought to you by Harvard Radcliffe Institute. Our producer is Alan Grazioso. Kevin Grady, Anna Song, Productions Inc.,
And Cabin 3 Media provided editing and production support.
Many thanks to Jane Huber for editorial support.
And we are your co-hosts. I'm Heather Min.
And I'm Ivelisse Estrada.
Our website where you can listen to all our episodes is radcliffe.harvard.edu/borncurious. If you have feedback, you can email us at info@radcliffe.harvard.edu.
You can follow Harvard Radcliffe Institute on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And as always, you can find Born Curious wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for learning with us.
And join us next time.